Welcome to the New Era Podcast, a fresh space where we talk love, life, growth, money moves, marriages, relationships, mindset, and everything in between. Hosted by me, Courtney. This is where real talk meets wisdom, humor, conversations that help you grow through what you're going through. Whether you're navigating relationships, leveling up in life, or just need a word, you're in the right place. It is time to align, thrive, and embrace your next era. Hey, you guys, welcome back for another episode of the New Era Podcast. I have a wonderful guest here. Her name is Miss DeJuana from God's House Salvation. So I'm so excited that for this sit down interview, for sit down and, talk. I hate to say interview, but just sit down and converse, as people say, to have a conversation about life. So y'all know that this channel is dedicated to women perspective, the growth of women, and the things that women have been through. So I am admonishing so many women to reach out to me so that we can sit down and talk, and so that other people can hear your story, because we all as women have a story. We've been through things, we've been through life, and we're just in a place where we went through whatever we went through, and now we're on the top. We are in that place where we've healed, where we have grown, and now we have been restored. So that's what this podcast is all about. So to go through the healing, because so many people are in a place, in a space, especially in this season, in this hour, where they just don't know, they left from right, head to toe, top to bottom. They don't even know. So I'm going to stop talking. And like I said, we have Miss DeJuana. She is going to tell us about her life, the things that she's experienced, the things that she has been through. So we sat and we chatted, and she has a story to tell. So I cannot wait for you guys to hear her story. So Miss DeJuana, hey.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So tell the people a little bit about yourself. Like, who are you? If this is their first time, seeing you, who are you?
Well, I'm DeJuana, and I am just your regular old Southern girl that's been in different places, and I've had a good life, but I also had challenging parts in my life and had to overcome those barriers. So I consider myself just a regular person that's just going through life and just trying to um, keep perspective on my goals and find meaning every day and to love.
So when you say that you overcame challenges, so as a young lady, I'm quite sure of course, you grew up as a teenager, as a young adult. So when did those challenges start in your life?
Well, I really didn't recognize them in my teens because I did a lot of good things in my younger years. I was in pageants. I come from a family that's very progressive for especially for the women, very much into the educational parts. I grew up around the King family. I grew up around the people that were a part of the SCLC, all those kind of people. So when I really didn't start having challenges until I left Atlanta and came out of my parents' bubble. And then I went to Dallas, and that's when life started happening. I started meeting different perspectives, different people that don't look like me, different thought processes. And then the dating thing was real challenging because my father died a year after I left home.
Mm.
And he was always my covering. I brought everybody home. I didn't have to worry about anything. I just gave them straight to my dad and I was done with it. He was sifted out. And if it wasn't right, fine, because it didn't hurt me emotionally because he was always there. But when he died, I felt that covering leave. And now I'm like kind of like left out there, kind of naked. And that's when challenges started happening because I didn't know how to really relate in as far as relationships was concerned. I
Mm.
had self-value. At least I had that to say no and keep it moving. But that's when the challenges really came.
Wow. So did you grow up
Mm.
in a Christian household? God, did you have a relationship with God at that time? Because when you said your father you know, was your covering, did you had to learn
Mm.
to accept God into your life, or what was that like?
Well, as far as religion, my parents would not allow us to even accept, be baptized or anything like that until we're at least 16 years old, because they felt that anything, any age younger, then you just go on with your friends. So my brother was Nation of Islam. My mother was Methodist. My dad was Presbyterian, and then I became Catholic.
Mm.
But I found out by birth from the African ancestry that I'm from the Yoruba tribe, and they're all spirituals. Now I understand what that's all about. But everybody in the household was a different religion. Nobody really cared. You know, it
Oh,
fit, and that's what I'm used to.
yeah,
And then
I like
also
that.
with that, I come from a family that is okay with long distance relationship. My grandmother and grandfather were in different, on my maternal side, were in different continents, so I'm used to that kind of stuff. Everything is so different.
Wow. I like that. I mean, I really do because they didn't push one religion on the
No,
next, and you
mm-mm.
wasn't forced to, have to be a part of this religion. You had choices even at a young age.
Right. Well, I chose to be Catholic for the wrong reasons
Oh,
because I wanted 1 hour. I wanted to come as I wanted to be in hot Atlanta. In August, it's 100 degrees. So I wanted to wear my shorts and flip flops. I got my communion, I paid my tithes, and then I was home in time to eat my daddy's catfish.
hey, you may have done it for the wrong reasons, but your perspective on how to, hey, I just want to be in and out, in and out. I don't have time for all that
Mhm,
stuff.
mhm.
So let's talk about when you moved from Atlanta to Dallas. Why did you move?
Well, I had a job offer to go to Dallas, and that was my first time really moving like that. My cousin helped me to get on with Hilton Corporation, and that was like I was an agent. So they were moving their offices from different states and putting them all in one place, and they put them in Dallas. So everybody had, after you were trained, you moved to Dallas, and they helped you with relocation and finding apartments and condos and things like that. So that's how that happened. And
Okay.
it was a good experience. And my parents said we had to live together for 1 year, just for safety, this, and that was okay. And then after that, we can just branch out and do our thing. But I stayed there for 11 years before moving on.
Oh wow, wow. So
Mhm.
you talk about that's when life kind of changed. Your father
Mhm.
passed away, and then you moved.
Mhm.
So then you were removed out of that bubble, and I guess you saw life reality for real.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So what are some of the challenges or some of the things that you went through?
Well, one of the things I remember going through early on, because I was with my cousin, was that her dating style. I didn't like the way she dated. She liked to go out with guys just to get a meal. And I'm like, well, we got food at home. Why we got to do that? I don't want to go out with them. I don't even know them. I didn't like that thing. I just didn't like that. Mm-mm. And then I found out I had a cousin that lived in Dallas, and then he was just real slick. He would, his wife was military. He was military, and a beautiful woman, beautiful home and everything. And I went to their home to see them several times. But I gave him a key to my apartment just for safety. I come home early one day. He's in my bed with a woman. I'm like, oh no, you can't do this. We're
Oh
not doing
no,
this.
I know that's
No,
right.
no, no, we're not doing this. So
Wow.
I had to deal with that. And then I called and told my mom about it. She took care of it on the other side.
Right. Wow.
Hmm.
So now let's kind of fast forward. So when did you start experiencing, we talked about, some, well, I know you talked about some dark sides. So when did you start experiencing those dark sides that you talked about?
Well, I got into a relationship, and for the most part, everybody I dated was a good person.
Okay.
You know, when we were done, we were all done. My dad said never date more than 2 years. If they're not ready to put a ring on it by the second year of you dating, they're taking up your time, your baby time.
Mm.
So keep it moving. So it was getting around to the second year of dating this person, and I loved his mother. His mother taught me how to make gumbo and all those Cajun dishes. I think I enjoyed his family more than I liked him. and everything, because they used to ask me to come down all the time from Dallas to Houston, and we would just cook and do all, and she would fix my hair and all kind of things. So we really bonded. But her son was not so great. He wasn't. He was good on paper. He looked good,
Mhm.
but behind closed doors, it was a whole different person. I didn't like that person
What
and
age
everything.
were you?
Probably about 26,
Okay.
27. So I was in my late 20s.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he turned out not to be a good person,
Not,
or
behind closed doors, he looked good. He puts up a good look and all that and
Mhm.
all that. But he wasn't. He had let's see, he had a lot of problems, such as he had anger issues. And so I picked that up. I said, okay, I'm not used to that, but okay, maybe we can get past that. I just kind
Right.
of just overlooked it. And then he wasn't good in he wasn't good in
Okay. Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of overlooked that too.
Right. Right.
Just overlook things and just try to make things work. And
Right.
then I said, no, this is not going to work at all. Not going to work. I've got to let this go. And
Yeah.
then that's when it got real crazy and got psychotic, because I'd never had a bad breakup. Because if you're not into each other, you just bye bye,
Right.
and you go on about your
Exactly.
business. I go on about my business. There's no problem in saying goodbye. It's just not going to work, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So, but he made it psychotic to the point where I had MPs looking for him. Yeah, it got to be one of those kind of situations.
When you say MPs, what do you mean?
Well, he was military.
Oh.
He was an officer in the military, and they don't play with domestic violence and everything. We had a situation where he was campaigning for. You remember Ron Brown, the politician back
Mm-mm.
in the 90s? Well, he was campaigning with his wife. He was
Okay.
helping her do a campaign for him. And I came from Dallas to visit, but I didn't want to go to that. I wanted to rest because I was tired because I just got off another trip. And I called her, and I said some things that I should not have said, just being immature. And he found out about it, and I was asleep.
Mm.
And he picked me up, and I had no clothes on, except a bathrobe. Picked me up, threw me outside the door. Hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hmm. So that's why I say it got real volatile, and to the point where I just called. When I called my family called the police, because I got in touch with my family, and they were the ones that got the MPs involved. And the MPs asked me, down a week later or so, when the things were kind of smoothed out a little, what do you want to do? Because they wanted to press charges, and his mother called me and said, don't do that to my child. He's close to retirement. He's got a good career. I said, well, what about my life?
Right.
You're messing up my life and
Exactly.
everything. I'm the one who's got to deal with everything. I'm the one who's got to take off. I'm the one who's got to go to therapy. I'm the one who's got to do this and that
Mm.
and everything. Tell your son to stop. Leave me
Mm.
alone. And
Mm.
stop calling me.
Right.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah. So, wow, that is dark. So, how long did that go on? Did you stay in that relationship, or?
No, after that happened, I just had enough self-worth to get
Mm.
out. I went through therapy. Um, they said you just need to go find you something else to do. You don't have any children, you're not married, so this is an easy break. You just need to change your life
Mm. Mm.
and everything. So that's when the religion, the church came in. I started getting more involved in those kind of things, trying to find some healthier things to do,
Right.
to be around people that will support me emotionally without pressing me down and everything, that kind of stuff. So I started trying to find healthy things to do.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
was that the only dark times in your life that you experienced?
Um, as far as relationship, yes.
Okay.
As far I've had situations in career where I've had to deal with things. As I worked when I moved to Dallas, not from
Mhm.
Dallas. When I left Dallas and came to DC, I got another job offer to come to DC, and it was a whole different energy in DC than it was in Dallas. The people, the fast pace in DC, which at that time I was in my early 30s, and that's fine. But it was a different energy. Dating, you can get good dates, but as far as trying to make somebody to commit to you, that was a whole nother story
Mm,
in DC because it was too many women, just too many women. And I went to a really good church that worked with singles and re-singles to help
mm-hmm.
because it was a different, you have different things that you think about when you're single and you're in your 30s, as
Right.
opposed to grown people that are married and got a family and things like because they have whole different things that they're thinking about. So when I came to DC, I noticed that the dating was very challenging. It wasn't laid back like Dallas was, fast paced, revolving door,
Mm,
those kind of things. Then I started getting lonely. And I'm not a person that gets lonely because
mm-hmm.
I keep a busy life. But I wanted to be married. I wanted to have children. I wanted to have my home, those kind of things. So then it became real dark because I wanted to have those things. And I saw it looks like everybody else was getting it except me. And
Right.
what was going on with me that I couldn't have that as well.
Yeah. Wow. So what was next for you in your life? So where did it go then, as far as the next phase?
Well, what I did was that I just started doing more self-care for me. Start taking care of DeJuana. I
Mm,
said, if I'm going to make changes, I need to take care of DeJuana so I can present my best self to people. So I just kind of pulled back from all that and just spent a lot of time with my singles and re-singles. That helped me to get myself together. I had a lot of good friends in that, which were the same age, going through the same thing. And we would have barbecues together. We would do a lot of single things. Like if somebody said, well, let's do a barbecue. Well, I have the chicken, I have the roast, I have this, I have that. And we all put it together and do a barbecue potluck. And that's how I learned how to make potato salad because
okay.
everybody don't make potato salad right,
Mm-mm.
that
They
kind of
don't.
stuff. So yeah, so I learned how to do those things, and then we also did a lot of. My church gave us a budget of a minimum of 30,000 a year to do activities for singles and re-singles, and I enjoyed doing those kind of things.
Now that is
So
good. I never heard of a church doing that before. I think that's amazing.
mhm. Yeah, we always had a budget and we always had to spend the money because if we didn't spend the money, we weren't going to get that same budget or more the next year.
I
So
like
we did a lot of activities to support that. And that helped me out quite a bit, quite a bit.
Okay, I
Mhm.
like that. I like that. So now,
Mhm.
fast forward to let's talk about how your journey as far as being in ministry. So how did that go? So we know that you are a minister. Here today, you're a
Mhm.
pastor. So how did that go? How did you meet your husband? How did that, process come up to now?
I met, I met my husband on orientation day at Howard University, the first day. So, and I met three men, and I said, okay, let's just see how this go. I wasn't thinking about anything. Okay, I met my husband. He was okay. He just said hi and bye. And then the other guy said the same thing. The other guy said the same thing. Well, over time, the other two kind of fell off. One was just too messy, and I didn't go out with anybody except my husband. So my husband's father, who he thought was his father, had died like a month later, and so the professor said that well, Reverend David has father has died. Make sure you all offer your condolences to him. So I said the same thing, and then we just got into a small conversation, and I told him, I said, I'm buying a house. You're welcome to come to my house if you want to. He said, oh, I'm looking for a house too. So I said, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Because men say that stuff to get women in,
Right.
but I didn't really think he was serious. But he was really serious about it and everything. So he came to my house and I served him peach tea. We had good conversation. It just took off from there. But he had three children that I didn't know about, and then I
Mm,
had to deal with that.
mm,
So when went to his house, I took him to um one of those, what do they call that? A deliverance service.
mm-hmm.
I said, I'm gonna take you to a deliverance service. I'm really interested in this. So he said, okay, I'll go with you. He said, well, you can come by my house, and then we can carpool if you want to. And then, because I'm carrying children, I'm like, children? What do you mean, children? I saw him with one child, so I'm thinking that it's just one child.
Right.
But when I got to his house, I said there were two children that opened the door. I said, oh, two more.
Mm. And they were at an age where they could open the door. So what were their ages?
7, 9, and 11.
Oh wow. So what was
Hmm
the age? So you were in, I guess, your early 30s, and he was how old?
He's 3 years younger than me. I think at
Oh,
that time I was like maybe 34, somewhere around there. And he was a little bit less than me.
okay.
But he worked for I didn't think much about it because um, he'd been married before. He told me he'd been married before. And also he'd been with the federal government for, I think at that time, 17 years.
Mm,
I think
okay.
something like that.
Okay.
So I really didn't think much about it, but it was just the children. I said, okay, what am I going to do with children? I've never dated anybody to have children. So
Mm-hmm.
what am I supposed to do with this?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I got a chance to really get into the children, and it's been a great thing. They are part of my ministry because I learned a lot from them, being mothering them and all the things they had to go through. I learned how to deal with myself and go
Wow.
back and take care of some things. And
So
because of them, I was able to go back to my mom and apologize for being bad and that's coming up.
yes, because now you see firsthand what she had to go through dealing
Mhm,
with you. So
mhm,
were you the only
mhm.
sibling? Were you the only child?
Uh, It's two of us, one boy and me.
Okay.
And they raised us totally separate. I'm all girl and he's all boy. He can have whatever he wants as a boy because my daddy did everything. He was a mini me of my dad, and I was a mini me of my mother.
Mm, mm. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So okay,
But
so now I'm sorry.
go ahead.
So now you are meeting your future husband. So like how long did y'all date and then when did you get engaged?
Okay, that's a story that's interesting because I met him at orientation day. We didn't start to get off in anything until like November because I was all about my studies, and I was still traveling with my job. So when we started, we went on to a couple of dates, and then I said, okay, I want to get a little closer, but not too close. I just want to see how it's going to go. But he had a lot of girlfriends. He
Mm,
had a whole lot of girls. I said, no, we're not doing this. I'm not doing this.
right.
I'm just going to go on about my business. And then eventually, because they were coming up to me. They were actually coming up to me and telling me that I'm his girlfriend. I said, well, that's your boyfriend. You go on about your business. So eventually, he kind of he wasn't sure what to do, and he took me to one of those watch night type of ministries that's at night, and he got prophesied over, and that's when he realized that I was the one for him. But his mother and his grandmother already told him from day one, that's your wife, and
Mm.
you're not marrying nobody else but her.
Oh wow. Wow. So
Just
you
so
guys
then
got I'm sorry.
yeah, we got engaged that August. No, no, no. He went and bought my ring in August. I didn't get my ring until October 16th.
Okay.
Hmm And then
So
we got married like 3 months later.
okay. So the children was a non-factor. Like you said, they became part of your ministry, your life, and you loved the kids, I'm sure, as your own.
Right. And they were in my wedding. So
Okay.
I've always shared everything with them, even to this day.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love it. So I know you was telling me about your husband's did he get illness. When did
Mhm.
that take place?
I didn't even know that was there until maybe about, what was it, 2015, something like that. I'm like, I didn't even know that was there. I'm like,
Okay.
what's this?
So what kind of mental illness? Like what
It's just, it's anxiety.
oh
Yeah,
okay.
just managing anxiety. I just, because it never showed up. It
Okay.
just absolutely never showed up. So that's a challenge, just trying to navigate through that.
Okay. So what
Mhm.
is he like today?
He's fine today. He's asleep.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's calm.
So
He's calm and everything. He's calm. He said he's not asleep, but he's calm.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So
Mhm.
he's mobile, he's active and
Oh
everything.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he's active. He's retired. He's gone. He's done his life and everything, and he's doing everything good.
Okay, okay. So where are you guys currently?
I live in Reno, and he lives in Washington D.C. because he bought a house in D.C. I came out here 4 years ago. So yeah,
Okay.
because I couldn't find ministerial work like I wanted to. I wanted to work my chaplaincy. I didn't want anything beyond other than my chaplaincy, and I was able to get that work done.
Okay. Okay. So you were more focused on being a chaplain. So are you guys in two different states?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is he not, I thought I heard him in the background. Didn't I hear?
Yeah, he's up now.
Oh,
So
okay. 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 Okay.
yeah,
So
we're both chaplains. He just finished his residency at Georgetown last month. So he's preparing for his board certification now to go through that. And I'm doing the educator thing, the certified educator credential, but I'm going through my training is through the VA.
oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So what does life look like for you guys? So I'm sure you're pastoring the church and so what is
Mhm.
life currently?
Life is, even though we're separated by distance as far as homes, everything is still the same. The money's the same. Everything is the same. It's just that we're just in different homes. Um, we, when he goes back to DC, we'll go back to FaceTime and all that kind of stuff. Because I work primarily from home, and then I go out and visit my patients, and a lot of times I talk to him on the phone in the car and stuff. So we'll go back to that, and then he'll come back out here again. So that's where we are. It's just it's long, they call it living apart but separated. Is one that's what is one of the Congress women. She has that same life.
Hmm.
Um, but everything is connected, but you're not there, but
Okay.
everything that you have, your whole marriage, everything about it is connected, still connected. Nothing is separate. We share each other's cell phones. So he may leave here with my cell phone, and I may have his. So we don't separate anything at all.
Okay. So how do you pastor the church together being
Okay,
separate?
the church is right now is digital,
Okay.
especially since we came through the pandemic where everybody had to go digital, and that's what we have now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did
Mhm.
have a brick and mortar and now you're digital.
Mhm.
So was that a hard transition for you
It
guys?
was.
Okay.
It
Okay.
was because it's new. It's something that you have to adapt to because people are used to the old way of doing things. But also, the early church was in the home. It wasn't a building. It wasn't
Mhm.
until the Romans took over that they took it out of the woman's hands and keep it, having the church in her home. And now they tell people they have to have a building.
Right.
So,
Right. So
mhm.
yeah, it's kind of going back to the way it used to be because even in the
Mhm.
Bible they went from home to home um
Right.
to even pray and minister. So yeah, okay. So you guys are enjoying
Mhm.
the remote church.
Right.
Okay.
I
Okay.
like it much better.
Okay, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do too. I don't, you don't have to leave your comfort or your space. You can actually be in another state. You can be traveling and watching church or having church for sure.
Right. Mhm.
So I wanted to so is there anything else that you wanted to share with the audience? You know what I'm saying? Anything that you wanted to encourage them about? I know we briefly talked about the dark times that you had and everything. So is there anything else that you didn't share? Because I wanted, to make sure you get your voice heard to our listening audience.
Well, I want people to understand that they matter and that they're born with a purpose. No one is born without a purpose. You just have to find out what that is, whatever God is leading you to. Not what, and stop looking for other people to validate you because God has already validated you. And to try to live your life with resilience and inspiration. Make sure you get some zeal to get your behind up and stop covering up and staying in bed and get some encouragement. Also, look around. Family doesn't have to be blood. Family
Mm-hmm.
can be just people that support you, and that there's always opportunities available to you. And you just sometimes you have to look for it, but it's all sometimes it's right in your face and you don't know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So is there anything, I know you talked about a devotion. Are you you wrote a devotion?
Yes, I write devotions every single day.
Okay.
Um, I get up between 3 and 5, sometimes 5:30, and I write those things. They just come in my spirit, and then I just write it based on whatever's going on in my life. And I did that because that started out as something to help me when my brother died.
Mm,
Because when he died, I had a meltdown in my family home, and my neighbors were very communal, so they came and helped consoled me. And I said, I've got to do so. I said, I can't go to therapy every day because I said, this is not really a psychological thing per se. I'm grieving. So how do I deal with that piece? So I have to learn how to lament and be able to be real about what's going on with me. So I started with the fruits of the spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, mercy, forgiveness, and self-control. And every month I wrote based on that. A month of love. Actually, I did came back around and did love for 3 full months. And so each month was based on one of those. And that helped me to come out of my bereavement
mm,
and everything
mm,
at the end of the year. So then I just kept it going. I said, well, I just can't stop with now. So let's just talk, let's move on to other things.
mm.
So that's what I use. And
Wow.
that's my happy space. That is my bedtime happy space. And it doesn't have to be anything long. It's just some word of encouragement to help me so I can go out and be available and present with other people. Because if I'm not present and
Mm,
I'm coming to give them some encouragement, and I can't do that, what am I doing? So
right.
that's why I look at it.
Wow. I
And
love
then I work in an area where I'm the only, it was only like 3 blacks in my company. So everybody else is not like me. And most of my patients are not like, I think I've only had maybe 2 patients like me. So I have to minister to everything. And
mm,
then I come in, they say, well, who are you? And I said, I'm the chaplain. They've never seen a woman chaplain. So I've got to break down some walls just to get in to sit with them.
right. Wow.
Hmm.
So we talked about I know off camera we talked about the V perspective. If you can just share a
Hmm.
little light on the V perspective and what does that mean?
Okay, well, the V perspective is my visualization of how I see God working in our life. In Psalms 23, verse 4 says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. That rod and staff is there to comfort you. The rod and staff is a resource. God is the source. So that can be a therapist, that can be anything that brings you type of encouragement. But as you're going down the left side of the V, you're at the top. Let's say you start at the top and everything is fine in your life. And then things start to happen. You're not really paying attention to what's going on until you get halfway down that V and you look up and you say, darn, what's going on with my life? And then also your friends are leaving. You got new friends that's not good for you. Your life is going down. So when you get down to the very bottom, when you hit rock bottom, before you can come back up, you have to realize what's going on with me before I've got to come to some type of realization of what in the world is going with me, self-awareness. So until that happens, you can't begin to come back up. And then you can take, once you go through that, then you can start making provisions to try to come up, time to come up with you. I call it the blast off as you're going up the other side. The problem with your perspective is that it's limited
Mm,
time to expand it. Imagine yourself leaving your body and then you're trying to come back up on the other side. And it's an unfamiliar territory because you're doing something new with your life. And
right.
then as you continue to go up, you're leaving all that old stuff behind. You made a decision that you're going to change your life. You got to change. Everybody can't go with you. Some
Mm,
people you're just going to have to cut loose. And as you're coming up, because I remember I'm being theological now, and the fall. the fall in heaven with Satan, he took 1/3 of the angels with him.
Mhm.
And and they're happy to stand here on earth, messing up everybody else's life. So those people are not ready to make the change. They want to just stay where they are, or they just don't know how to change, don't have the tools to make changes. But it's, you know, that you need to move. You got to go. You got to do something different in your life for things to get better. And as you continue to come on up, you just keep moving up. And then once you get up, you do take action to stay up. You leave all that stuff behind. That was last year. Yeah, I know I messed up. And now God has forgiven me. I've got redemption, restitution, resolution, reconciliation, and restoration
Okay.
on the other side. That's something that you don't have on the beginning side. So you're a whole new person now. So that's my whole thing around the beef perspective.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think a lot of people should see life that way, because life
Mm-hmm.
has its ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and a lot of people give up too soon on life, and they don't,
Mm-hmm.
go through the
Right.
process, because there's a process for all of us. God wants us to go through so many things, to come out as pure gold, so yeah, I like that perspective, and you use that in your sermons to minister to people, correct?
Right. And also, I tell people, okay, you got a mess, but God has a message in that mess. Remember, the best produce come from the ground where they had to put cow manure in the
Mm,
ground.
mm,
Yeah. Your stuff help, fertilize so you can have good produce.
right. Yeah. Wow.
Hmm.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Miss DeJuana. I really appreciate you sitting down talking to us. Any final words before we leave, and where can people follow you?
They can follow me on all Placidol on YouTube channel. Even if you just Google my name, or even my church, I'm all over the places. God's House of Salvation Progressive Baptist. I'm very progressive. I preach and teach liberation theology. Um, for the women, I'm real big on ministering to the women because I know that the Bible talks more of from a patriarchal stance. And so I try to give messages to women to give them something because they are valued too.
Mhm.
So, but I don't crash anybody. I just try to give that information to women to help them with their life. So they can find me at God's House of Salvation Progressive Baptist, or you can put Rise at Sunrise, and our Rise is Rize at Sunrise, and it'll pull up. You got a whole lot of stuff. You may see me in a turban. You may see me with my bonnet on because usually I broadcast early, early, early in the morning. So they can
All
find me
right.
that way. Or just put my name in. They can always Google me and find a whole lot of stuff.
Okay. I like the fact
Hmm.
that you say progressive. That's in your title. So it kind of,
Hmm.
it's not like it doesn't sound like it's your average church. I want to say that it's very progressive.
Well, I had to go that route because I'm a female. Actually, my husband was the one that did that. He said, if
Oh,
you're
okay.
going to go further on into your ministry, because you have to be ecclesiastically endorsed as a chaplain the right way. I can't go to a missionary Baptist church because they have a different view about how to see women. They'll let you evangelize, they'll let you do your little small ministries, but it's when it comes to the bigger things, no, they will not allow you to do that. A lot of churches will not allow women to do things because they feel like you're over the man. I said, well, did you ever look at Jesus's ministry? Because Jesus was all about the women.
Mm,
Jesus had a glory. He gave the commission to the woman first when, after he, rose from the dead and everything. So, and then they gave it to, they went out and gave it to the apostles, and then they just tried to kick them out and
mm.
everything. So, you know, that kind of thing. So, yes, progressive to move you forward. From a baby, your whole life is about progression. So, why would I want to stay stuck?
Right.
So, it's all about progressing your life.
All right. I love it. I'm going to leave your information below for those that are watching on YouTube. For those that are listening to this podcast, you should be able also to go in the description and see the information. So, and if you're watching us on if you're listening to us on the Audible on the podcast, please make sure you give us a rating. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know what you feel, your comments, and if you're watching us on YouTube. So, thank you again, Ms. DeJuana, for accepting this invitation and sitting down and talking to this audience. So we really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I will see you guys on the next episode of the New Era Podcast. And don't forget to comment, rate, like, and subscribe. And I will see you later. Bye.